What is going on, Nerd Readers? Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for coming to hang here with us today as we play some Ark Survival Evolved. That's right, the legend is back. We're going to be talking about something really cool that we've created in our absence in Ark on the Nerd Parade YouTube channel. And I'm really excited to reveal it to you and show it off because it's been a ton of hard work and amazing. And I think it's really going to resonate with a lot of you guys out there. And that is Project Old School. Ark Survival Evolved Project Old School. Before we jump into it though, introductions in order. In case you don't know, I am Nick, this is Nerd Parade, and once again, welcome to the channel. Alright, so you're probably asking yourself the question of what is Project Old School? If you're unfamiliar with my opinion of Ark, I firmly stand by a couple of core mantras, and that is that whether Studio Wildcard intended it or not, Ark Survival Evolved is a dinosaur game. It's one of the original reasons why I bought the game off of Steam in the first place when I first saw it. At its core, it's a dinosaur game. And second is I really dislike tech. I don't like that the game kind of evolved from this primitive creature-based dinosaur survival game into something more Halo-esque. It's always something that really bothered me. We're faced with a choice at this point. What can we do? We can sit here and bitch about it and complain, or we can do something about it. And that's what we in the Nerd Parade community decided to do with Project Old School. This is us doing something about it. So we're creating our perfect version of Ark Survival Evolved, and it's going to be open to you guys that wish to play on it. If you want to find out more about how to join the server and when they're going to be up and ready to go, discord.gg/nerdparade is going to be your Bible. Come in there, hang out with us, talk about Project Old School, and if we're still in development at the time you're watching this video, you can even come in there and comment and influence some of the things and changes that we make to it. So you'll have to excuse me as I'm doing this video. Project Old School is so massive that I've had to write myself some notes. So I'll be occasionally glancing over and looking at the notes so that I can cover as much as possible in this relatively short video to give you guys a heads up of what Project Old School is. And primarily the goal of Project Old School is to bring back everything that you saw and wanted when you first purchased Ark. When you're watching that trailer for the first time and you see the character riding the T-Rex and they bust through that wood barrier wall and people are throwing spears and shooting arrows and stuff at it, we're trying to bring back that feeling of why you bought Ark in the first place. And that's kind of what the main goal of Project Old School is. It will also not have tech, which is one of the bigger questions that we've kind of gotten so far, and it's going back. Think of the Old School Ark, like when it first hit early access and was released on Steam. None of that tech stuff existed, and Project Old School will also not have it. So here it is, you spawn into Ark for the very first time, and you are intimidated by your surroundings. You see creatures that have been long extinct for thousands of years. It's scary and intimidating and amazing, and it gets you so hyped up. Now, the way that Ark has survival evolved is that the environment and creatures and dinosaurs, some of them flat out become useless, and others are just minor annoyances, and the environment in and of itself is not really dangerous. The biggest threat to you becomes other players, and that should be more of an end game type of thing, in my opinion. Whereas the environment should always be kind of like relatively dangerous. And we want to try to bridge those gaps so the environment and other players are dangerous instead of just players. Project Old School is Ark Survival Evolved, but it's built by the Nerd Parade community. It's been completely redesigned. So it's going to look a lot like Ark, but it's going to function differently. And what I mean by that is that you'll see creatures. There's a Bronto that's popping in and out in the background. Every creature within the Project Old School universe has had a redesign. And one of my biggest pet peeves within Ark is that certain creatures, sometimes it's your favorite creature, flat out become useless. They're just ignored completely. So every creature in the... I'm getting trolled. Every creature in the Project Old School universe will have some kind of use, whether it's a niche use or a speciality, if you will, but never again will you look at a raptor and be like, oh, I don't need to tame a raptor. Raptors are trash. Every creature, every dinosaur in Project Old School has its use. And that also functions with items and things of that nature. I'm not going to go into that in this video because that is a huge long list. Every creature has been redone. Almost every item has been redone. And if you want to check more about that out, stay into the Nerd Parade Discord. We're going to have a nerd paredia, if you will, and you can check out all the cool stuff that we're going into with all the revamps. One of the bigger things that I want to hit on, though, is that the AI of creatures has been completely redesigned in Project Old School. The AI is artificial intelligence. So these prehistoric beasts, some of them master hunters like the T-Rex or the Raptor, their AI is going to reflect that. You're going to notice that the AI behavior of all creatures in Project Old School is very different from that of Ark Vanilla, and they are going to be much more intelligent. So what can you expect from Project Old School? And one of those things, I touched on it briefly, is the pet peeve of certain creatures. Sometimes it's your favorite becoming absolutely useless. You just gloss over them like, oh, I like Delos. They're really cool. Delos are really, really cool. They killed that fat guy in Jurassic Park, but nobody ever tames them because they're dumb. Well, no, not in Project Old School. We fixed that. That's one of our big major goals. Glancing over here at my notes again, and touching again briefly, we already talked about this. Second, what can you expect from Project Old School is the AI has been completely redesigned on every creature in Project Old School. Third, and this is probably the coolest thing that we have done in Project Old School outside of redesigning the creatures and the AI. This is the next coolest thing, and I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey so that we can show this off. But Ingrams and unlocking was always an annoyance of mine in Ark Survival Evolved, because as you level up, you're forced to go into your little survivor implant that projects something on the back of your retinas that allows you to see knowledge, and you can use a limited amount of points to unlock your knowledge. Project Old School is going to function a bit differently. So as I mentioned, Ingram unlocking and the entire system has been revamped, and we've come over here to the snow biome, the tundra if you will, and here are a couple of mammoths. What we're going to do is we're going to attack these mammoths so I can try to get lucky and show this off, hopefully, and I'll talk a little bit more about what I mean when I say get lucky. So we've redesigned the Ingram system, and if I can get slightly lucky by one-shotting these mammoths, it would be super awesome. Aha! That's strange. Why did I just learn fur Ingrams? Fur Ingrams? Why did I learn fur Ingrams? Fur-legging Ingram from killing a mammoth. That's because we've completely redesigned the frickin' Ingram system. So something, like I said, that always bothered me is you get knowledge points and you're like, okay, I want this one and I want this one. No, in Project Old School, you can learn literally every Ingram as long as you go out and do the appropriate activity that the Ingram would entail. So these woolly mammoths are covered in pelt. And by interacting with them, in this case, slaughtering them, your survivor has the ideas like, oh, man, I could do something with this pelt. I could make some really furry-ass leggings and keep myself warm. That's also how you're going to be unlocking blueprints. So it is when I mentioned that I hope I get lucky, it is an RNG-based system, similar to or akin to like World of Warcraft, where you go out and you farm the things that you want. So as your character interacts more with the environment, he has light bulb ideas and then can make the Ingram and unlock literally everything while appropriately interacting with other said element. Not actually element, that has to do with tech, but you get what I'm going with this. So we found some more, and I'm actually glad we found this little cluster. This is also in the same way you unlock blueprints. You can literally farm for blueprints for the creature that would unlock the appropriate Ingram. For example, woolly mammoths are one of the classifying characters that unlock fur Ingrams. They also unlock their saddle. In this case, we have something that never made any sense to me is why did the Ark always have completely fully grown creatures and never any type of younger versions of them? Like, why was everything always fully grown and there were never any wild babies? You can tame the wild babies. Some may prefer to tame wild babies. It's easier, but you can also kill them and hope you get Ingrams. So we're gonna stab this guy. We're gonna stab this guy. Oh, we got a taxidermy tool from killing creatures, as well as a mammoth saddle and a fur cap. Perfect. We're unlocking more Ingrams by interacting with creatures that it would make sense that you would learn these things from. The Ingram system has been completely redesigned. As I mentioned, it is RNG based, and blueprints unlock the exact same way, only instead of unlocking an Ingram, you'll get a blueprint directly in your inventory. Like, oh, my survivor just had an idea. I know how I can make that mammoth saddle a whole hell of a lot better. Let me write that down. And it goes into your inventory. Blueprints are still physical based items, and those ideas and items can be taken from you the same way original traditional Ark blueprints can. In my opinion, this is a way better system to address Ark Ingrams. Wildcard, by the way, if you're looking to hire me, check out my email, which is in the About section of the Nerd Parade channel. The Ingram system is way better designed in this type of situation because it adds more interactability and RPG elements to it, as well as allowing your character to unlock every Ingram possible if they go and do the appropriate action. I like being able to unlock everything. That's just me. Now, something that goes hand in hand with our Ingram system is we've built in an entire progression system to kind of propel your character forward, taking you from A to B, encouraging you to go from one location to another to unlock specific Ingrams and essentially advance. So you'll be advancing in tiers as you would from thatch to wood to stone, or from cloth to hide to chitin to flak armor. There's a progression system that we have built in that goes very hand in hand with our Ingram system. And I touched on PvP a couple of moments ago, and that's going to be a big question. Will there be PvP in Project Old School? Yes. Short answer is yes. It wouldn't be Ark Survival Evolved without some kind of PvP. However, that doesn't mean that we have just been lazy about PvP. PvP is one of the biggest aspects of Ark Survival Evolved, and one of the biggest aspects of Ark on the Nerd Parade channel, but it's not for everybody, and we embrace that. So there's a couple of things that we have in place on Project Old School that might really make a lot of people's lives easier. To do and advance within Project Old School, you're going to have to go to what we refer to as dangerous zones. And those dangerous zones are part of our progression system, and they will be fully flagged for PvP. However, we do have a specific area that would be considered a starter map or a starter island for other types of games if you want to compare them to it. So this starter zone is essentially a safe zone, and you will be protected there. It is a very small zone. If I had to give you a measurement, I would say it's about 20 foundations in size. So it's a very small zone, but it's a sense of peace of mind and protection. If you want to go raise a dinosaur or something like that without being messed with, you have that very small limited area and to work with just to completely relax and avoid all PvP content. In addition to that, we also have NPP, which is called New Player Protection, which is as soon as you spawn onto the Ark and somebody's waiting on the beach for you and just instantly ganks you, you're like, this game sucks. No, not with Project Old School. As soon as you spawn in, you have about 15 to 30 minutes to get your feet off the ground, get the ball rolling, get yourself established, and then you can participate in any type of PvP content that you want. Another question that's going to come up is that with these starter zones, with these safe zones, once you leave, are you going to be able to return to them? Yes, you will be able to return to them, and you will be able to store your most precious of items. However, that storage is going to be very limited so that it will still encourage raiding and things of that nature. You can keep your most precious of things safe, but not a lot of them. There's one last thing I want to talk about as we kind of hype up, it's not pooping, as we hype up Project Old School. There's so much more to it, and if you want to find out more, please join us on the Nerd Parade Discord, as I mentioned before, discord.gg/nerdparade. There's so much more, and I can't possibly cover it in just one video to get you guys hyped up about it. But the last thing we're going to cover for this initial, like, hey, this is what we've been doing with Project Old School, come and hang out with us, is Dinosaurs and Dinosaur Death. So, for example, what we mean by that is you spend hours and hours taming a creature, or hours and hours raising a creature, or mating and breeding to try to create the perfect creature for you and your needs. It really sucks when you lose that creature to insert random reason here. It gets arked. It falls through the mesh. Who knows? Another player comes and kills it. That's always something that's been really, truly frustrating to me. My first experience on Ark Official is I spent 8 hours taming a Rex, and then 30 seconds later, some dude on an RG picked me off of it and then killed it before me. I cried, and then I was like, screw this, I'm going to make my own server with blackjack and hookers. And that's kind of how I started the Nerd Parade servers. But I digress. That is something that always really bothered me. So there's no such thing as permanent dinosaur death on the Project Old School servers. What I mean by that is if your favorite creature gets killed, it will reincarnate as a baby. And this is a system that we've used previously on some other Nerd Parade servers if you've been following the channel for a while. This dinosaur will reincarnate as a baby with its same colors, same name, same stats, and all you simply have to do is wait for it to grow up again. And then you have your creature back. The creature that you worked so hard taming or spent so many hours trying to perfect the best mutated stats, what have you, you don't have to lose that creature forever if something bad happens. You still have to re-raise it, so there's a time delay. It's not going to be an instant thing, but rest assured, you won't lose it permanently. This is where we're going to leave you for now. I hope we've got you really excited for Project Old School. Like I mentioned, there's going to be so much more coming to it. If you've been following on twitch.tv/nerdparade, every Friday we've been going over some of the Project's Old School updates. This is something that we've been working on for quite a while now. If you're watching this video later and Project Old School is already live and launched, all the information to join the servers will be available on the Nerd Parade Discord. I'm trying to future-proof this video as best as I can. I hope you're hyped. Until the next one, take care of yourselves, stay awesome, and come on hang with us real soon. Later.